Well, let's go ahead and then get started. All right, I'm going to call to order the Monday, December 15th, 2025 City Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Beckner?
Here.
Weber?
Here.
Salkaitis?
Here.
Polk?
Here.
Bongard?
Here.
Munn? Here. Gem?
Here.
Spellman? Here. Petrilla?
Here.
Werbo?
Here. Okay, we are all present. I'm not sure who is doing the invocation tonight.
That's me.
All right, Alderman Petrilla, if everyone could join us in the invocation, please.
We gather this evening mindful of our shared responsibility to the people of St. Charles. We ask for the wisdom to govern justly and the strength to make decisions that promote the well-being of our residents. Grant us open minds to hear the many different perspectives presented and open hearts to understand the needs of our constituents. For this opportunity to serve our community, we offer you our gratitude. Amen.
Amen. And who is leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance today? I'm going to ask Mr. Salkaitis.
Oh, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to start tonight with the St. Charles Business Alliance presentation. So Susan, start.
Good evening, Mayor Hull and Council. As you know, I'm Susan Stark, the Events Manager for the St. Charles Business Alliance. And I'm happy to be here to present our 2025 Fall and Winter Recap. The 40th anniversary of Scarecrow was October 10th through the 12th. We had 3 amazing weather days and a huge turnout for the event this year. We had an increase in event goers over last year of 75,000 plus attendees. There were 120 plus Scarecrow contest entries, which was an increase from last year, and 2,500 plus votes were cast for the Scarecrow contest, which was a 16% increase over last year. We had a successful business participation with 28 businesses hosting fall specials, walkable foods, and activities. The Lincoln Park Family Zone was host to mega mechanical and business category scarecrows, family fun booths, Ghostbusters, 15 performances at the band shell, and the closeout was Hillbilly Rockstars. In the activity zone, on Riverside Avenue, there were clubs, nonprofit, school category scarecrows, a rock climbing wall, Meisner Magic Truck. We were lucky enough to host the Wienermobile and Pillsbury this year, where they co-marketed and gave out free mummy dogs. And State Farm gave away free bobbleheads. Super fun. First Street Plaza was host to 6 feature bands, a trunk or treat, and a fall in love photo op. At the Municipal Building, we had Franklin's Hot Dogs, Rotary, and the Colonial Ice Cream Truck. And Autumn on the Fox Craft Show was in Potawatomi Park. We had a ton of positive feedback from this event. Here are a few I picked to read to you. Pollyanna said, massive day for us on Saturday. From 12 to 5 was probably the busiest we've ever been. Sunday was equally as good as well. J.N.R. Hara, another Scarecrow Fest in the books. We're so proud to be part of this amazing community and love seeing everyone stop by our booth. Thanks for keeping it local and showing love to small businesses like ours. And Peyton from Rocket Fizz. We made $26,673.79 between 1,387 sales in 2025. We beat last year by $2,412.90, meaning we beat the previous year again for the 5th year in a row. Thank you again. That's $26,000 in candy. Completely amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you again to our sponsors, volunteers, organizations, and businesses for making this milestone year so great. We look forward to seeing you all again next year at next year's Scarecrow. Moving on, the 25th Annual Holiday Homecoming was November 28th and 29th. While we were unable to host the Electric Christmas Parade this year, we would like to take a moment to highlight the many wonderful events we were still able to bring to our community. This year's Lighting of the Lights was held Friday, November 28th. The plaza was packed with spectators awaiting Santa and the lighting. We gave away free roasted almonds, which were delicious and the smell in the air was truly amazing. The ceremony began promptly at 5 with performances by both St. Charles East and North choirs. Mayor Hull energized the crowd with ringing of Santa bells and led the countdown for the grand lighting of the city's lights with the assistance from Santa. Scott Trotter of Trotter & Associates presented Santa with a brand new Santa cottage. And immediate following the ceremony, a ribbon cutting was held at the new cottage. Mayor Hull, city aldermen, representatives from Trotter & Associates, and community members gathered to celebrate the unveiling of the new and exciting addition. Saturday, November 29th activities included a free showing of Elf at the Arcata Theater. The theater was filled with happy families enjoying the movie and holiday activities. That day, there were free Santa visits from 1 to 4 with Bethlehem Brass playing in the plaza. And the holiday shop crawl was held throughout the weekend and aligned with Small Business Saturday. And the Joy and Ornament festive photo ops were on display as well. Santa visits have been taking place every Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 4 in the plaza and continue until this Sunday, December 21st. Santa has reported he's been very busy, long lines past 4 o'clock each day, and everyone loves the new cottage, especially Santa. He's actually kind of warm now. Despite the cold and the snow, and we had a fantastic attendance, there was over 1,300 plus spectators at the lighting of the lights, a full house at the holiday movie as well. We received some feedback from lighting the lights and the free holiday movie. It was a great morning at the Arcata Theater watching Elf. Love everyone in their Elf hats. Thank you to all who came out, McNally's Heating and Cooling. And my hubby and youngest had great time seeing one of their holiday faves on the big screen. Holiday memories made, Lisa. Unfortunately, the 25th running of the Electric Christmas Parade was canceled due to weather for the safety of our participants, volunteers, and spectators. Even though this year's parade couldn't take place, we're grateful for the chance to celebrate the start of the season together. The support from all of you is something we've never take for granted. Thank you for making the holiday homecoming special in its own way this year. And now I want to show a quick teaser video. We posted this prior to the year's event. That was cute, wasn't it? And now on behalf of the St. Charles Business Alliance, I'm honored to present a key to Santa's Cottage to Scott Trotter, President of Trotter Associates. Scott, thank you for your generous contribution. Your support made this beautiful cottage possible, and we're delighted to recognize you with this key.
Thank you. Congrats.
We would also like to present a key to Randy Unick, the exceptional craftsman who designed and built the Santa Cottage. His attention to detail and remarkable craftsmanship brought this cottage to life. We're grateful for his talent and dedication. Randy. And finally, Mayor Hull, we're pleased to present you and the city the key as well. We hope Santa's Cottage becomes a cherished annual tradition for our community for many years to come. Thank you again to all our sponsors, volunteers, local businesses, and community organizations for your support of this event.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks again. Happy holidays, everyone.
So Mr. Larson just said, I guess that means I'm on the nice list. So I like that. So again, Randy and Scott, on behalf of the city, thank you so much. I don't know if any of you have driven down. I was telling him I see him on every Saturday and Sunday, not intentionally, but I seem to be driving around there between 1 and 4, and the line is, I thought the other day at about 3:45, I said, Santa's got a lot of people to see in the next 15 minutes. So thank you again. Next up, we are going to honor the St. Charles North girls swim team for their second place finish in state. And so I would like if all of you could come over here, and then I'm going to introduce Coach Rooney. So come on over here with that trophy. We'll just get you right over here. Before we get started, I just want to say a few things. I love that trophy, man. I love it. Love it. So a couple things that I want to just start out with. And so for those of you that grew up in the 1970s, you watched Ray Rayner. And when a team won the state championship, they got to go on Ray Rayner and they got to feed Chelsea the duck. And there was nothing more important when I grew up than wanting to win a state championship to get on Ray Rayner. Never happened. But anytime a high school sports team finishes in the top 4 in state, they get a trophy, and it's a really big deal. And I want to just talk about that a little bit before I turn it over to Coach Rooney. So in researching IHSA girls swimming, first of all, 50th year that the meet has been going on. So 50 years this year. I Googled how many swim teams, high school swim teams are there in the state of Illinois. They said about 800 IHSA schools, maybe not 800 swim teams, but at the end of the day, probably over 1,000 swimmers that are swimming in the state of Illinois at the high school level. When you look at what you have accomplished, and I know that you are all very humble, I get to brag tonight as your mayor, and we get to brag about you because what you've done is incredible. So I want to start out, I know that he'll be mad at me about this, but I want to start out, any good team has a great leader and has a great coach. And Rob Rooney is a 1986 graduate of St. Charles High School. He himself was on a state championship swim team. He was inducted in 2023 into the Illinois Swim Hall of Fame, which again, he's very humble about. But I've talked to Coach Rooney about this a number of times, and what Coach Rooney always tells me is I don't focus on the results, I focus on my swimmers. And at the end of the day, I want what's best for them, and if they have a personal best and they have their best day, it doesn't matter to me whether they're state champions or they're in another place. It's all about you guys. And so he has continually said that. He is so proud of you, and we are so proud of Coach Rooney. Pride of the Fox. Next up, I just want to talk a little bit about the St. Charles North swim team. All right. So first of all, results. Second place, tied the highest finish ever by a St. Charles North swim team. The highest finish for a St. Charles swim team, both East and North. I go all the way back to 1999, which is when the Saints or the St. Charles High School won a state championship. So you've exceeded 25 years of swimming. And then the 12th consecutive top 10 finish. So I want that to sink in a little bit. 12 consecutive years that they've been in the top 10. That's an incredible standard to achieve. I want to just point out to Coach Rooney and to the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, you finished third in 2024. You finished second in 2025. So we know what's going to happen in 2026, right? We're going to celebrate some state champions, but when I just want to end by saying this. When I Googled and I was thinking about, I grew up when St. Charles swimming was it. There were multiple state championship swim team. So I grew up around swimmers. I wasn't a swimmer, but I grew up around swimmers. And now I'm 58 years old, and I've seen what those swimmers have accomplished in their lives. And what I know about what you've gone through is that whether you realize it or not, all the things that you've done to accomplish this are things that are going to help you the rest of your career and the rest of your life. The top 10 traits of successful swimmers. Number one, unwavering dedication, which I know for you means waking up before sunrise and putting in 4 to 6 hours a day. It takes a goal-oriented mindset. You guys are focused on your times. You're focused on how to get to those times. Resilience in the face of failure. When you have a bad swim, you have a bad meet, you don't put your head down and quit. You get back into the pool. You look at that black line a lot, and you just keep putting in the time. Exceptional time management. You have to maximize your productivity in and out of the pool. And again, I have no idea how you finish second in state and do all the great academic things that you do. As Coach Rooney said, I said, they're pretty smart. He said, they're wicked smart. Next up, a positive support system. So when I look at the parents and I look at the sacrifices that your parents made, you talk about teammates, you talk about family, you talk about your coach. Before you get your driver's license, you got to get to those 5 a.m. practices in Norris, and there's somebody that's got to drive you. Next up, mental toughness. Again, you got to persevere when things don't go smoothly. You have to maintain a high-performance lifestyle. Excellence is not limited to the pool. It's got to be in your diet. It's got to be in your work ethic. It's got to be in your time management. You got to pay attention to detail. And ultimately, what I love the most is you have to dream big. You guys have done that, and on behalf of all of us in the city of St. Charles, I want to tell you how proud we are, not only of your accomplishment of finishing second in state, but of the type of human beings you're going to be in the future, and you're always going to represent St. Charles. So congratulations, Coach Rooney.
All the ladies, thank you guys very much. Parents, I've already said thank you guys 200 times over, but I truly mean it. I'm blessed to work with these young ladies every day. They're fantastic role models for a lot of people in our community. I can be honestly say to me that it's very rewarding every day to get up at 4:30 in the morning and put my shoes on and walk out the door and have an opportunity to go work with these girls every day. I would like to have a young lady speak today, Kate Farrell, who is a senior, 2-time state champion, along with Tess back there. She's a state record holder in the IHSA, but I would like her to talk to you all. You ready, Kate?
Good evening. I'm Kate Farrell, a senior and captain on the St. Charles North swim and dive team. On behalf of the whole team, thank you to everyone here for taking the time to recognize our successes this past season. This last season was certainly monumental. We broke records, had 6 All-Americans, and of course brought home the runner-up trophy. Excellence is a tradition on our team, and no group of girls embodies it better than this one. But this tradition would not be possible to maintain without such a supportive community backing us along every step of the way. From access to quality facilities to city programs centered around youth athletics, most of us have been involved in the St. Charles community for our entire lives. For all of us, swimming is an integral part of our lives and has been for as long as we can remember. Your investment in our beloved sport has made a real difference, and we all take immense pride in wearing SCN on our caps. Such monumental success requires a strong team and an even stronger community. We've learned discipline, accountability, and teamwork, which we will carry on long after we leave the pool. These lessons are reinforced by strong leaders who teach the value of perseverance and teamwork. We are all proud to represent St. Charles on the state level and cannot be more grateful for the opportunities provided to us. Thank you for believing in our team and our sport, continually supporting youth swimming, and fostering an environment where student athletes can shine in and out of the pool. We are proud to call St. Charles our home and look forward to seeing the tradition of excellence continue for future generations.
You know, back in the day, we got a key.
There's so many keys, there's so many people in here on Friday and Saturday. Where we looking, right here?
Sure. Next up is the sophomore state champion in the 100 backstroke. See a bike.
Congrats, Stacy. What does it feel like to touch first? Did you know right away? Yeah. You know right away?
Yeah. I need Hannah, Tess. Come on up. Kate.
The relay team?
Lulu. Yep.
All right.
I have all four of them.
Did you start with the relay? It was a blur? I guess. There are so many signs back here.
The relay. That's it. I don't know. Okay.
And then these go up the whole right?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Come on up, let's go.
We've been here, girls. Let's do it.
Do you jump in the pool? Do you jump in the pool? Sure. No. All right, over here.
Oh, boy. Yeah, go right in front of work. Go right in front of the TV. Yep.
We never have to. We never have to. Like that's the camera area.
Ready?
I'll make a little preview.
Thank you.
And Joe, anything you want to say to the AD?
Incredibly proud. You captured it beautifully there. These are the best of the best in front of you today. They work incredibly hard in season and out of season. Coach Rooney talked briefly as you do about community swimming here. Starts in the summer in the lesson programs they run in our pools. They're an example for all of us and truly what it means to not only be a North Star, but to be a St. Charles student athlete. We're very proud.
Yeah, no, Lisa, they take the signs, right? They're out of
Skills are smart.
Why you're working on it. Yeah,
Thank you, Coach Rooney. It was great to call. That's way too much fun.
All right, we're going to go ahead then and get back to the city council meeting. I'm going to turn it over. Councilmember Silkaitis, do you have a motion as it relates to the omnibus vote?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the omnibus vote as presented tonight.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second by Petrilla. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Esner?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Silkaitis?
Yes.
Folk?
Yes.
Bongard?
Yes.
Munn?
Yes.
Gem?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrilla?
Yes.
Wardle?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries, and so we will now move on to old business. There is none. New business, item number A, there is a motion to approve the release of executive session minutes designed for disclosure and to maintain confidentiality for all other previously undisclosed executive session minutes as specified.
Munn moves.
Second.
Okay, motion by Munn, second by Warble. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Esner?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Silkaitis?
Yes.
Folk?
Yes.
Bongard?
Yes.
Munn?
Yes.
Gem?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrilla?
Yes.
Wardle?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right, next, we are going to move on to the committee reports, government operations.
Yes, Mayor, item A6, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing an agreement with Government Finance Officers Association for Enterprise Resource Planning Software Consulting Services for the amount of $188,000.
Okay, there is a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Weber, second by Gem. Discussion. Mr. Werble? No? Okay. All right, anybody else? No questions? Okay. Roll call, please.
Fesner?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Sakadas?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Bongard?
No.
Munn?
Yes.
Gem?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrola?
Yes.
Werble?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Now moving to government services. Any report?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Planning and development. Councilmember Werble.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, that moves us to the public comment section. Again, public comment is an opportunity for our citizens and residents to address us. We do not place a time limit on those, but I would ask everyone to be respectful and to listen to the things that are said before. Again, there is no time limit, so we are happy to listen. A couple things that I do want to go through. Just a couple things, comments that have come to me since the last two that I want to just share with the group. So one, I think every time we've done this, everybody has been very respectful for all speakers. So it's very important that we continue to maintain that decorum. As you know, I think most of you know, I came from a background of a courtroom where emotions and clapping is not allowed. It's been asked, why do we allow it in the city council chambers? I don't think it's my position or anybody else's position up here that we want to take the emotion because it's a very emotional issue. But it has been brought to my attention, and I get it, that when people clap and cheer for one speaker, that it can have a way of chilling opposite speakers. So I just want to throw that out there because I think it's very, very important. I don't want to say that people can't show emotion. That's not what we want, but I would just ask that everybody understand that everybody that gets up to speak deserves the respect of the audience, and we've seen that, and I would hope that we would continue to see that. So I appreciate that. So with that being said, public comment.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Frothingham-Brenz, and as I said last month, I'm a retired District 303 high school English and public speaking teacher. One of the techniques that we teach for both essays and speeches is the use of a comparison-contrast format. Here, there is a topic and two aspects which will be compared and or contrasted. In my example, the topic is authoritarianism, and the comparison will be between Adolf Hitler and Donald J. Trump. All entries must be factual and capable of being checked. Here we go. Hitler followed by Trump. Hitler used racism to rise to power. Trump uses racism to rise to power and stoke fear. Hitler proposed to make Germany great again. Trump promises to make America great again. Hitler, an anti-Jew fascist. Trump, anti-Muslim fascist. Hitler blamed the Jews for Germany's problems. Trump blames immigrants for America's problems. Hitler thought the Jews should wear special IDs. Trump thought Muslims should wear special IDs and scapegoats minorities. Hitler said the press was the enemy of the people. Trump, the press is the enemy of the people. Hitler, the rule of law was suspended. Trump, the rule of law is ignored and obstructed. Hitler, secret police arrested enemies of the state. Trump, masked agents arrest civilians protesting. Hitler, armed forces invade opposition territories. Trump, armed forces invade blue states uninvited. Hitler, Jews are vermin and pests that must be exterminated. Trump says that we need to root out his political opponents that live like vermin within our country. Hitler, contamination of the blood by an inferior race would lead to the fall of Germany. Trump, immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Hitler, we must recognize the greater inner enemy. Trump says, my political opponents within our country are far worse than the dictators of Russia and North Korea. Hitler sought to delegitimize democratic institutions. Trump delegitimizes institutions who do not serve his political goals, the courts, the electoral process, the certification of an election, democratic opposition, even branches of the administration that do not fall in line. Hitler called the media press of lies. Trump calls mainstream news media fake news. Hitler cozied up to Mussolini. Trump cozies up to Putin. Hitler, signs were ignored. People were in disbelief. Trump, too many people are ignoring Trump's worst impulses. Hitler took advantage of bad economic circumstances. Trump blames others for the bad economics, even almost a year into his second term. There are other points that could be made, but I want to get to our situation here in St. Charles. Several of my fellow citizens spoke a few weeks ago stating about how much safer they felt from the danger of immigrants thanks to the presence of ICE. I would question if those fears existed a year ago, or two, or whenever they arrived in St. Charles, or if the fears appeared along with the advent of the ICE squads and the fear and anxiety their actions engender. Speaking for myself, I am an 80-year-old widow, and I am not afraid of the immigrant population in my hometown of the last 49 years, be they legal or undocumented. The vast, vast majority of people in this town, including the immigrant population, are hardworking, conscientious individuals, paying their taxes, raising their children, and hoping for a good, productive life for their families. I am, as is true for virtually everyone in this room, with the possible exception of anyone of Native American heritage, I am a descendant of immigrants. Just the fact that a major branch of my family, the Frothinghams, emigrated in 1640, almost 400 years ago, make me special, more worthy, more deserving of a larger portion of the American dream? Of course not. Every immigrant in every age yearns and strives for the ideal set forth in the 18th century of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, what am I afraid of? I'm afraid of Black Hawk helicopters landing near an apartment building in Chicago in the middle of the night, dragging out every resident, men, women, and children, securing them with zip ties. What did that stunt cost us as taxpayers? And, by the way, not one of those individuals was eventually arrested. I'm afraid when I see protesters, and please reference the First Amendment, tear gassed, a congressional representative pepper sprayed, a priest shot in the forehead with a pepper ball bullet, women thrown to the ground while attempting to protect their neighbors, children separated from their parents or coming home to find them gone, and on and on and on. I am terrified of losing my rights as an American citizen, especially freedom of speech, freedom of the press. This is a real fear, especially when we have a leader who refers to those who disagree with him or challenge him in any way or question any of his actions with crude and hurtful language, retarded, piggy, ugly within and without, low IQ. Notice how Marjorie Taylor Greene has gone from a rising young star of the Republican Party to low IQ Marjorie Traitor Brown. And these are just a small sample. I am afraid that the democracy I enjoyed growing up, raising my family, living in my adopted hometown, will be permanently harmed. Democracy itself in danger. Are we perfect? No, and never have been. But in general, I believe that we as a nation have been striving toward a more perfect union. I want that back again for whatever time I have left, and more importantly, for my children, grandchildren, and generations to follow. I stated last month, paraphrasing the quote, "Evil thrives when good people say nothing." At the recommendation of my middle son, also an English teacher, I want to add, please, let us listen to our better angels. One final personal note, the somewhat ugly, bulky sweater I am wearing belonged to my late husband, Jack Brenz. I wear it to honor his memory and to always remember one of his often repeated remarks. The best gift my folks ever gave to our family was moving us to St. Charles. I hope to continue feeling the same. Let's pass the proclamation, the city ordinance, or whatever it takes to get ICE out of our town and keep it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Brents. Ms. Herrera, if you could just state your name and your town, please.
Oh, of course. Good evening. I'm still Heather Herrera, Ward 5. The last time I was before you, I presented verified data from activity related to federal agents in St. Charles. And since that time, interactions observed by the community have only escalated. Before I begin, I will give you a quick rundown of my credentials so it's clear I'm speaking from a well-informed perspective, one that honors the community, represents the many who are still too terrified to come forward. I have a formal education in political science, pre-law, Latin American studies, and Spanish. I have 20 years of experience in regulatory oversight, risk and compliance with a specialty in cybersecurity and data integrity. I've been a courtroom observer for nearly 30 years in DuPage and Kane County. And I have a lifetime of volunteer experience with a variety of organizations working to better the communities in which we live, work, and enjoy. And the last part is exactly how I identify myself. I'm an advocate by nature. I bridge the gaps and look out for my community whenever I can. And one missed opportunity for me was when I saw you last week on Wednesday at 7-Eleven Mayor Hall. The parking lot was frozen over. The snow flurries made it hard to see. And once I returned your hello, I fought the instinct to respond with, "Watch out, there's ice out there." Because I wasn't sure if you'd receive that as sincere. And in all honesty, it is the perfect analogy for how I view the City Council and Police Department leadership when it comes to preparing for the dangers of our streets. I've been informing you since the beginning, and it would seem we have different interpretations of how to prepare for such conditions, despite the inherent risks. To date, there hasn't been acknowledgement or the desire to proactively protect the data of the residents, whether it be the city data, flock cameras, or drones currently being accessed by federal agents. There hasn't been a desire to take a formal stand on the illegal actions, conduct of federal agents within the city limits, especially when they endanger the community. There hasn't been a commitment to ensure that those posing as agents are even legitimate. So when we all stood and pledged our allegiance to the flag, know that only some of us truly meant the words, "with liberty and justice for all." because there are no caveats or terms and conditions on that belief. And when our actions don't match our words, my dad would have called that chin music. And as it stands, I've already implored you to take action, invited you to learn more in emails and with my multiple public comments. The fact that I've never received a response from my alderpersons Weber, Besner, nor Chief Likens tells me that I'm not the educated demographic worthy of your consideration. With that, I'll keep being the trusted advocate for my neighbors and still welcome any and all actions that serve the community you portend to value. Thank you for your time tonight, and please do watch out. There's definitely ice out there.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Linda Robertson, St. Charles. I've lived in St. Charles for decades, and as some of you know, I have consulted all over the world. Everywhere I was I was met with kindness and respect. Most people, no matter what the country, are largely the same. They want safety, stability, and a better future for their children. And some moved to this country because of those same goals. I worked in places like Lebanon, Indonesia, China, and Venezuela, countries labeled as dangerous or authoritarian. Yet in all those places, I never encountered masked secret police. That is why what is happening in the U.S. today is so alarming. I have no issue with lawful immigrant enforcement, legal deportation hearings, due process, actions that follow the law are essential. What I do object to is people being taken by men with no badges, no identification, no visible warrants, faces hidden behind masks. Even the Gestapo didn't use masks. People are being detained or tear-gassed simply for questioning authority, which is our right, or for the color of their skin. U.S. citizens, taxpayers, business owners have been caught up in this. People in their last step to take the oath of citizenship have been pulled out of line. Nearby towns have taken steps to object to ICE activity on city-owned property. They have chosen to protect their residents and their values. I do not want St. Charles to gain the reputation as a town that welcomes intimidation and fear. I do not want to live in or spend my money in a town that looks the other way while neighbors are being taken without due process or proper warrants. And I know I am not alone in that. It affects our businesses. Council persons, please signal that St. Charles does not align with secret police. We are proud Americans. We are not good 1930s Germans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. If you could state your name and town, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Sue Broxham, and I live in Elgin Township, and Elgin is one of the cities that has taken steps to protect our public property and our neighbors. And I'd like to thank you all for your dedication to the safety and well-being of our community. My husband and I raised our family in the Fox Valley, and our two sons, now ages 31 and 33, graduated from D303 with a well-rounded education, equipped with the opportunity to pursue their place in the world, as all families hope their kids can do. This is in no small part attributed to the solid reputation of the city of St. Charles, along with the other cities and villages in the Fox River Valley that work hard to create a secure environment of community-minded, family-friendly places where people come to live, attend school, dine, work, play, shop, worship, and seek professional, legal, and medical services. It's obvious from the banners lining Main Street that St. Charles is a city of big hearts. We all want to live in safe neighborhoods where we can build relationships of trust with our neighbors and our city officials. As a member of We Can Lead Change, I have witnessed the big hearts of the entire Fox Valley through the community outpouring for the monthly food drives that benefit families who are afraid to leave their homes to shop for groceries, and some even afraid to go to school, work, and medical appointments. This past Saturday, in the freezing single-digit temperatures, people came to drop off their donations, and I would ask them where they live and how they heard about the need for these food drives. One woman who lives in Geneva told me that she teaches kindergarten at St. Joseph's in Elgin. She said that she has 5-year-olds who tell her that they're afraid of ice. As she told this to me, her chin began to tremble, and she had to stop talking, and she drove away. Later that same afternoon, when I was helping to organize the donations, I met a fellow volunteer who told me she works for an OBGYN office in Hoffman Estates, and that they recently had a pregnant woman come for her monthly checkup who couldn't stop crying throughout the entire appointment because she was so afraid to be outside of her house due to the invasive, violent abductions by federal agents taking place throughout our communities. I've recently come to learn that when families have a family member taken by federal agents, they often have to sell off everything they own in order to pay for the legal fees. This creates deep hardships for the entire community and affects our local economies. A week ago, last Saturday in Elgin, I was present for nearly 4 hours while more than 30 masked federal agents armed with taser guns, tear gas canisters, pepper spray cans, and long guns staged a violent standoff to arrest Luis Jesus Acosta Gutierrez, one man, who was wrapped in a blanket, crouched on a second-story balcony of an apartment building on Maple Lane. There was no judicial warrant presented for his arrest. Just the night before, I had visited the same street with friends at a home a half block away from the chaotic invasion. The community that showed up in Elgin on Saturday, December 6th, came together in solidarity to say, we do not want our streets blocked off by unmarked vehicles and staked out by armed masked agents with no regard for the rule of law and due process. As reported by the Chicago Tribune, 31-year-old Acosta Gutierrez, like more than 95% of the targeted community who is being detained by federal agents, had no criminal record. People came from miles around to help out these neighbors on Maple Lane by bringing supplies to help rinse out tear-gassed and pepper-sprayed eyes and provide saline solution, food, hand warmers, and blankets. I saw my friend Wilma from Batavia walking down the street with an armload of blankets to hand out. She later told me that there was a young girl shivering who couldn't get to her own house because of the federal agents. And she was so grateful when Wilma, who is a retired nurse, wrapped her in one of the blankets she had brought from her home. We are counting on our city officials up and down the Fox Valley to take the courageous steps to protect the residents, which means abiding by and upholding the recently signed State of Illinois SALT Act, HB 1312, to safeguard targeted immigrant communities from these unjust federal actions. Our cities are safer and stronger when we can trust our local government to work with the community and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ready?
You can state your name
Okay.
and the town.
My name is Megan Stace-Gilbrot from St. Charles, and I speak to you this evening excited and energized after meeting with you, Mayor Hall and Chief Likens.
I appreciate the time that both of you took and the honest and productive conversation. And after speaking with you and listening to members community members from St. Charles and the surrounding areas, I think we all feel it's time to do something. First, it is important to listen to different perspectives and understand where people are coming from, but then it's time to do the hard work. And some naysayers will say that's not possible, that people are so incredibly set in their ways that it's not worth trying to work together. And of course, there are those situations. But I do know it is possible because I've seen it happen here in St. Charles through the work of our school district. Dr. Gordon facilitated listen, learn, and return sessions at a time when our community was coming out of COVID and upset with critical race theory. Those discussions were heated, they were emotional, but they were impactful. And the result was that people left with a better understanding of different perspectives and a common goal of making our schools better for our students. And perhaps that's one idea that we could model for the community. In addition to having community discussions, what else can we do? Well, again, look at successful models. When people see their elected council members, firefighters, and police officers at food drives, at pancake breakfasts, at the schools, and shopping at all the businesses, it sets a precedent that all people are valuable and appreciated. And I recognize that this is hard work because if it was easy, we would have already done it. However, I figure if we can all live through this weather, we can probably accomplish anything. Ronald Reagan said, "All great change in America begins at the dinner table." As a community, let's bring our perspectives, our concerns, and logical solutions for moving forward to the table and become a place where people, not only from St. Charles, but from the surrounding cities, feel valued, protected, and safe. I look forward to our next meeting, and I'm excited to implement realistic and achievable goals that will encourage the people of the Fox Valley to maintain and build trust in the City Council and the Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. If you could just state your name and town, please.
Yes, hello. I'm Catherine Manning. I'm a 37-year resident of Geneva and a 25-year member of the St. Charles Episcopal Church in St. Charles, and I'm here representing the Racial Justice Committee of the church. I attended the December 1st meeting and heard community comments for and against an ordinance prohibiting ICE from using city property. I was appreciative when Alderperson Muntz stated her reasons for opposing an ordinance. She mentioned concerns about potential lawsuits, plus not wanting to give residents unrealistic expectations. I hope I'm stating that correctly with your point of view. Her comments piqued my interest, and I was sincerely interested in learning more about the outcomes of this type of ordinance. Internet and AI searches confirmed that, yes, cities with these ordinances have been sued. I learned that there are two main categories of plaintiffs, the U.S. Department of Justice and the state's attorneys. These lawsuit arguments centered around the Supremacy Act, which holds that federal laws supersede local laws in times of conflict. They also claim that this type of ordinance interferes with ICE operations. I also learned that there have been no DOJ victories against small cities, similar to the size of St. Charles, that there's been no victories in small cities with, that have no ICE ordinances. Most have been dropped or dismissed based on the 10th Amendment's anti-commandeering doctrine, a constitutional principle that prevents the federal government from forcing states to enforce federal laws against their will. Courts also stated that not allowing ICE to use city property does not interfere or hinder their ability to perform operations, as they are unencumbered to do so elsewhere with their own resources. However, there is one type of lawsuit which has been consistently successful. That is when plaintiffs sue ICE, DHS, and sometimes local law enforcement for allowing ICE to unlawfully arrest them on or using city property and resources. My takeaway from this is that cities are at higher risk of being sued for allowing ICE to use city property versus making a clear statement banning them from doing so. And lawsuits by arrestees against cities may increase given Illinois just passed HB 1312, a sweeping law that bans civil immigration arrests near sensitive locations like courthouses, hospitals, colleges, and daycare centers, and creates a new Illinois Bivens Act that lets people sue immigration officers and get at least $10,000 in damages for unlawful civil arrests and civil rights violations. The new Illinois Anti-ICE Law 2025 represents a significant step in protecting immigrant rights and ensuring that communities feel safe from deportation fears. And I assume this new law will give residents stronger grounds for suing cities who allow ICE on city property or to use city resources resulting in unlawful arrests. An ordinance would be a statement from St. Charles that local police follow the Trust Act and what it is. It would clarify that local police resources will not be used for any federal immigration enforcement, including more nuanced efforts such as not honoring ICE detainers without judicial warrants. It would clarify that federal agents will continue to operate in our communities without any assistance from local law enforcement and resources. Regarding the alderperson's second concern, giving residents unrealistic expectations about being protected by this ordinance, I consistently found statistics supporting the positive impact on communities who know their local police will not assist ICE and their city prohibits ICE from using city property. People are more likely to collaborate and cooperate with local police when there's a strong commitment to this. Residents are then far more likely to contact the police for help or to report crimes. But if residents do not see this commitment, they may avoid contact or collaboration with local police. Given the new Illinois law and the increase in people unlawfully arrested bringing lawsuits against both ICE and cities, I think an ordinance would put St. Charles in a far less litigious position and send a very positive message to residents. I encourage St. Charles City Council to support the new Illinois Anti-ICE Law 2025 and commit to an ordinance. I personally believe it would put St. Charles on the right side of history. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Good evening. If you could state your name and your town.
Good evening. Yes, I'm Scott Powell, resident of St. Charles for over 20 years. And tonight I stand before you to highlight a concept that has permeated all levels of our political discussion, the fallacy of both sides. On its surface, the idea sounds noble, reaching out, compromising, finding common ground. The perception is wonderful. It feels good, and those who seek balance on every issue, it validates their work. However, just as this approach aims to engage people on each side of an issue, we must recognize that there is another side to the concept itself. Both sides can be and has been used as a convenient cover for inaction, a way to avoid difficult choices in governance. Not every issue has two legitimate sides, and some have only two, right and wrong. Searching for common ground between right and wrong is a fool's errand, or worse, an excuse for inaction. Seeking compromise does not apply to every issue before a council or Congress or any public body. Sometimes the choice is simply between right and wrong. The decision may be comfortable, but you are our elected representatives, and leadership demands tough choices that may not please everyone. The both sides approach often works, but it should be reserved for local issues like tax levies, new development, service expansion, or program reductions. In these cases, finding a prudent middle ground can lead to effective, moderate governance without violent ideological swings. But these times do not call for both sides. Our country is in crisis. People in our community are being terrorized by our federal government. Federal sanctioned kidnappings are happening across our town, township, and county. There's no other side to state-imposed terror. No other side to mothers disappearing from school pickup lines. No both sides to tear gas deployed in neighborhoods less than 10 minutes from where we meet tonight. Flashbangs and pepper spray aimed at peaceful protesters and rapid responders does not have two sides. This is political violence, and political violence is always wrong. We implore you then to stand with our residents of our city, all the residents of our city, so everyone feels safe going to work, to the hospital, family gatherings, to court dates, or the grocery store. Disappearing people from their families, trafficking them out of state, and placing them in modern-day concentration camps does not have two sides. It is wrong, full stop, wrong. You cannot seriously sit and listen to both sides of this. One side stands for justice, human rights, due process, and the promise of the American dream. The other argues for lawless terror, kidnapping, and concentration camps. There is no middle ground between human rights and black site prisons. Tonight is not about finding a middle path. It's about affirming a fundamental truth when leadership recognizes there is no other legitimate side. Human dignity is not two-sided. We urge you to reflect on this distinction in your deliberations and let your actions demonstrate where this city stands. We ask not for compromise or fence-sitting, but for clarity, courage, truth-telling, and a clear stand for justice. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Would you please state your name and town of residence?
I'm Jake Wyatt, Colonel, U.S. Army, retired, and I'm from St. Charles. And actually, I grew up in St. Charles, graduated high school here in 1966. So I have a little bit of history about this town, and I love this town. That's why I live in this community. But I chose a profession to be a professional military officer. And several of you sitting here, I've heard your comments. I really appreciate all of them. All of you have very valid points. I've lived some of these terrors that you guys talked about, and I'm going to talk about those in just a minute. But all of you have a very valid point. I spent 25 years of my life defending the Constitution, so you have the right to sit here and express your freedoms and your free speech. And I still support that today, and every veteran here in St. Charles and throughout the nation still supports that, because we took an oath to defend and support the Constitution of the United States, so help me God. Just as you took an oath of office when you took your office sitting up here, you took an oath to support and take care of the citizens of this community and support the state and federal laws. My challenge to you is that you review the laws. You've been a sitting judge and Superior Court judge and a Supreme Court judge. You know the laws. But what I ask you to do is to take a look at your oath, make sure that you understand, are we following the letter of the law? Don't deviate. Don't let political affiliations take you one way or the other. Political affiliation should have nothing to do with this. This should be, what does the law say, and how are we going to support our oath of office, especially our constituents sitting here. Now, just a little bit of background. My first time I was involved in potentially riot procedure as a young second lieutenant back in 1970, Operation Garden Plot. 600 of us boarded a train at Fort Eustis, Virginia, and we went up to Washington, D.C. because of potential riots that weekend for the elections that were going to be taking place. Thank God we never had to get off the train. We went up there, spent 72 hours on the train, and came back home. That was my first exposure of potential being involved with U.S. civilians in a potential hostile environment. After that, I went off and I fly at Black Hawk, and I fly everything the Army owns. But I went to Vietnam. Firsthand, I saw the atrocities over there on both sides, our side and the Viet Cong side and the South Vietnamese side. And as you know, history tells us what happened from there. I'm not going to go into history of that. But then I had the opportunity also to serve in the Philippines when President Marcos was overthrown. I was there and part of the operation when we took a dictator for over 25 years that suppressed his people and made billions of dollars off of his own people. That's a true dictator, he was. But he was unseated. I knew the people that were going to unseat him, because I worked with them for over a year and a half before the revolution took place. The next opportunity I had was in Panama, when we took down Noriega. Then I had the opportunity for 72 hours in Grenada on the tarmac there. And then I had the opportunity, in the capstone of my career, I support Desert Storm. I was the Deputy J4 for Logistics to Norman Schwarzkopf. So I've seen tyranny, good and the bad, and so on. One of the ladies got up here and talked about traveling to other countries and so on. Well, I tell you, I've traveled almost the entire world, and every time I got off the plane, there was armed people with Uzis or some type of weapon to meet you when you came off. I didn't care if it was Germany, Paris, France, Switzerland, Zurich, Switzerland, in the Middle East, or in the Southeast. And we didn't have that in our airports until 9/11 took place. When 9/11 took place, that's when we started having armed police officials in our transportation system. So the bottom line is, you as city councilman, mayor, I challenge you, along with the first responders and the city that protects the city, follow the letter of the law. Let it be your guide, your conscience of what you do and vote, how you vote and support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Can you just please state your name and your town of residence?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dan Tully. My town of residence is Carroll Stream, Illinois. I am really grateful for this opportunity to speak before you today. I am an attorney. I used to work with Venezuelan migrants applying for temporary protected status and work authorization permits. And now my current work involves a lot of activity in this community, reaching out to folks and going to their doors, calling them at their homes, knocking on doors of voters. And a lot of the messages that I'm receiving are messages of fear. People are afraid, and keep in mind that these are people who are U.S. citizens who can vote in elections. Why are people afraid? Because there's been a Supreme Court decision that allows ICE to stop people and detain people based on a couple characteristics. One, the color of their skin, if it's darker, if they speak English with an accent, if they speak Spanish, or if they appear in areas where there are agricultural workers. Now, all these factors lead to people who meet any one of those characteristics, American citizens, thinking that they have to take their passports with them whenever they go out, even if they take their kids to school. They have to come up with contingency plans about what they would do if, one, they get detained when their kids are trying to come home, or if their kids are even taken. There's a lot of fear, and that's what I want to bring to you today, what I'm hearing from voters and from people in this community. Now, there's a lot of folks that say, well, that's already done. ICE has already moved on to North Carolina. But we only saw a couple miles up the road in Elgin 2 weeks ago. ICE came out in full force looking for one person, ended up tear gassing the entire residential neighborhood, including a state senator who got, State Senator Christina Castro got gassed. A pepper ball hit somebody in the face who was protesting this. Now, people ask in this context of fear, what can you do against masked agents who act with anonymity, pulling up the cloth over their face, thinking that they can act with impunity, with no consequences? Some people go to protests. Others go to Broadview. Others make signs and go to Home Depot. You know, in this type of context, the individual action is important, but it's not enough. Our federal government is not helping to protect people. In fact, it's encouraging, it's cheering on in many cases, this action from the executive branch. In this context, we look to you, the leadership of the local elements of government. King County has already taken a stand. The King County Board already passed a resolution saying that ICE can't use county property for operations. Other municipalities have taken a stand. Elgin, neighbor to your north, they've already taken a stand. all throughout this area, cities are taking stands, villages are taking stands, saying, not here, we will stand up for citizens. And I understand there's this question of whether or not these measures are legal. There's a concern on this board whether an ordinance or a resolution would be appropriate. But I ask, wouldn't you rather be on the side that tried to take an action in this unprecedented threat, to take unprecedented action? Wouldn't you rather be on the side that tried to stand up for your citizens? I know that each person on this board is a committed public servant. You wouldn't be here otherwise. You want to do what's best for the community. I stand before you today just to bring it to your attention that people are afraid. You had the opportunity to take action, and I hope that you do. Thank you very much.
Good evening. If you would go ahead and state your name and town residence.
My name's Sue Sanders, and I'm from St. Charles, have lived here for over 40 years. Good evening, Mayor Hull and members of the City Council. I'm back tonight to speak briefly on an issue that remains deeply important to me. I want to begin by thanking the City Manager, the Mayor, and the two council members, Ms. Spellman and Mr. Gem, for communicating with me about concerns related to ICE activity in our community. As Vice Chair of the Equity Commission, this issue is central to the work we do and to the well-being of our residents. I also want to thank Heather McGuire for responding to my email about the possibility of hosting a Know Your Rights informational training, similar to what Batavia hosted at a City Council meeting. A training like this could bring together City Council members, the Business Alliance, and residents so everyone has access to the same accurate information. I sincerely hope the city will consider this. While the Equity Commission plans to receive training, there are only 7 of us, clearly not enough to be trained. Thank you as well to Council members Bob Gem and Vicki Spellman for being open to exploring ideas beyond simply posting information on the city website. Also for conferring with the attorney over HB 1312 to make informed legal decisions. As many of you know, I am a member of We Can Lead Change, Fox Valley. Since the inception of ICE operations earlier this year in October, We Can Lead Change has been working with community groups to fulfill residents' needs for supplying Know Your Rights information sessions, for collecting food donations for those too afraid to leave their homes to shop. Thus far, we have collected more than 100 carloads of food and supplies that have been shared with hundreds of families. This past weekend, We Can Lead Change, along with other organizations, hosted a food and supply drive for families directly impacted by ICE activity. The St. Charles site was held at La Huerta grocery store. As we heard here last month, the owner, Laz, shared that his business was down 50% since ICE activity began. We believed encouraging donors to shop at La Huerta would support both families in crisis and the struggling local business. Thank you, Mayor Hull, for showing up on Saturday and shopping alongside community members. Your presence and generosity mattered. And Bob Gem, thank you for constantly showing up to support these food drives. These gestures are appreciated. However, they do not fully address the fear that continues to exist in our community. There is a targeted population that needs to feel safe simply to shop, go to school, attend church, or walk down the street. And the targeted population, as you have probably read, is growing. Eventually, many of us could be included. We work with the police department, We Can Lead Change does, in 3 towns. We work with churches from all over the area. We train people from all over the county and the country. But our own town has not decided to stand up yet. We will continue to do this work without the partnership of the elected representatives on this council if necessary. 10 days ago, I witnessed an ICE operation in Elgin involving 30 to 40 masked and heavily armed agents without warrants or badges using tear gas, flashbang devices in a residential neighborhood. I never thought I would see this in America, let alone 7 miles from my home. It would be naive to assume this could never happen in St. Charles. The mayor of Elgin made a public statement standing up for his community and condemning ICE's actions. I am asking our city leadership to continue brainstorming meaningful steps. Do not hide behind the website. We ask that you make a public statement and own it. Silence is unacceptable. Our residents deserve safety, clarity, and proactive leadership. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public comments? Okay, again, thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. A couple different things before I turn it over to the council or staff. First of all, I do want to just recognize that we had Daryl Rogers, who passed away this week. I want to just ask everyone to remember him and his family. He was a veteran who served 3 years in the Army in Vietnam. He served our St. Charles Police Department, rising to the rank of lieutenant. His father was a chief of police of St. Charles in the 1970s. I'd like to, on behalf of the city, thank he and his family for his father's years of service to our country and to our city. And attending the wake and seeing all the different retired police officers who were there, retired city workers, made me remember that once a part of St. Charles, always a part of St. Charles. So I just ask everyone to remember he and his family. Next up, this is a reminder that the city offices are going to be closed on December 24th and 25th. Again, what's been recognized through public comment and up here is we live in a wonderful, wonderful community, and I think that this is the time of season to remember that. There is always going to be and will be continued discussions, but it's important to reflect and to acknowledge that we live in a great country and in a great city. With that, I'm going to turn it over to any comments from council. Okay, Ms. Spellman?
No, I just a quick thank you to our community, echoing what Mayor Hull just said. Thank you so much for being such caring residents and making the time to come out here late at night on a very cold day to share your thoughts. I'm so proud that we live in a town where we have such concerned citizens.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Munns?
I just want to say that I'm reserving my comments until after the committee meeting when we hear more about what is being proposed for the city website and that conversation that happens.
Okay. Anything else? On behalf of staff? Okay. We do not have any executive session. I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Orville, second by Munns. Roll call, please.
Fettner?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Sulkaitis?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Bongard?
Yes.
Munns?
Yes.
Gem?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrilla?
Yes.
Orbo?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will be adjourned and then switch over to our next meeting.